speaker, Dr. Bharti Kashyap, who's going to speak to us about a triple problem dealing with pseudoexfoliation in a hard cataract with an associated preoperative astigmatism. Dr.
Yes, thank you. So, good evening, everyone. And my topic is pseudoexfoliation cataract with glaucoma needing toric IOLs, shooting the triple problem. Basically, we all know that in pseudoexfoliation there is astigmatism, there is glaucoma. Then whether to do phaco trap and toric IOL implantation at the same go, or we should delay the toric IOL and first do trap. So I'm going to discuss on that how we can do it in one go. And we have done a study, and as time is less, so I am going to fast forward few slides because I have to show my study. So there are a mnemonic rule to remember frequent signs in pseudoexfoliation. It's a dimple. Dimple is accumulation of dandruff-like material on ocular structures. We know pseudoexfoliation was first described by Lindbergh and then Vogt. There's a mutation in the gene. So I is iridodonesis, M is puermidriasis, P is peripupillary transillumination defect, and phacodonesis. We know there is a lens capsule weakness. The E is enlarged cup and disc ratio. There are a lot of patients who have 50% patients have glaucoma, and regular cardiovascular assessment is recommended for patients with pseudoexfoliation, as many patients have myocardial infarction and cerebrovascular accidents. So significant refractive and ocular residual astigmatism is found in pseudoexfoliation. Toric IOL implantation with phaco trap can be considered for patients with pseudoexfoliation cataract with astigmatism and glaucoma at the same sitting. Before I share my study, I will tell there are some pre-op indicator of jonular laxity which we have to evaluate. Like we all know, there is shallow ACD with normal or long axial range. In supine position, ACD depends and deepens, and there's a gap between lens and iris, non-dilating pupil, pseudoexfoliation endothelium. These are the pre-op indicator of jonular laxity. There are the intra-op indicators also, and there are some intraoperative techniques we should consider it, like more corneal incision. Chopper is held at incision site to prevent iris prolapse. CTR can be used, iris retractors, ringlet dilators, pupil expanders, and never a tiny rhexis, as patients are prone to capsular phimosis later. If there is the point is, if there is a progressive weakness of the jonules, yes, then it may subluxate or dislocate. Then whether monofocal IOL or toric IOL, any IOL will subluxate. Then why deprive the patient from toric IOL and its advantage? This is a very small video clipping. I am showing we have done a partial thickness triangular scleral flap which we make for trabeculectomy. Toric phaco is done, routine phaco, and then toric IOL is being implanted. Now the trabeculectomy punch is being done. And it is sutured, and the conjunctiva is also sutured. It's a usual case. This is the 6 years follow-up, and you can see a very mild phimosis-like effect is there. You can see this is the 6-year follow-up. The IOL is at the same axis, 94. So we did a study, comparative analysis of refractive outcome of toric IOL in post-combined surgery SIA group and post-phacos SIA group in pseudoexfoliation cataract with glaucoma and astigmatism. These are the inclusion and exclusion criteria. We took astigmatism more than 2 diopter. We did not take any jonular laxity patients, no pre-op and intra-op sign of jonular dehiscence. This is the prospective randomized comparative study. Single surgeon tertiary care hospital in group 1 40 eyes, group 2 again 40 eyes, group 1 toric IOL power with post combined SIA group, and group 2 toric IOL power with post phaco SIA, which we normally use. So based on centroid value, SIA was calculated for both the eyes. Post phaco trap SIA was found 0.21 and left eye 0.23, and post phaco SIA was 0.5, which was added in toric IOL power calculation for group 1 and group 2. This is the pre-op data of all the eyes, the age, sex, spherical equivalent K1, K2, and axial length. It was comparable. The outcome measures at 90 days were photopeak and mesopeak, UCDVA, BCDVA, spherical equivalent, intra and intergroup anterior chamber depth, and residual astigmatism. The comparative analysis of pre-op and 3 months post-op anterior chamber depth in group 1 and group 2 was comparable. The intra-group comparative analysis of pre-op and 3 months post-op anterior chamber depth in group 1 and group 2 was also comparable. This is the post-op spherical equivalent, which showed a significantly better result in group 1, that is toric IOL power with post-combined surgery SIA. Post-op IOL rotation was comparable. Post-op residual astigmatism showed significantly better result in group 1, that is toric IOL with post-combined surgery. Photopic uncorrected distance visual acuity, photopic best corrected distance visual acuity, mesopic uncorrected distance visual acuity, mesopic best corrected distance visual acuity, all were significantly better in post-combined surgery SIA group, that is group 1. So the conclusion is significant diffractive and ocular residual astigmatism and open angle glaucoma is found in pseudoexfoliation syndrome. Cataract surgery with trab results in unpredictable astigmatism due to scarring at the trabeculectomy site and making it difficult to reach zero error with simultaneous toric IOL implantation. But this study adds that after adding post-phaco trab SIA, we can implant toric IOL at the same sitting with phaco trabeculectomy, resulting in optimum refractive result. Thank you.
Very, very interesting concept where you can actually.
Yes, because
do the
whenever
SIA post-trial.
there is in all the debates, as I am chairman scientific committee, Jharkhand Ophthalmological Society, there we conducted a debate, and in that debate we have very good results with this. But there was, everybody was saying, no, don't do this. But then we had to prove, then we took out all the data, calculated it, and found that this is that.
The results are much better
Yes.
when you include the SIA.
Yes,
Well
yes.
done, ma'am.
Madam, can I ask one question?
Yes. I mean, because I did not take any.
I think she wanted to.
With the posterior optic capture.
But I did not take that case now. There's an inclusion.
Why? Sir, why, sir? Why do you do that?
General.
No, but then if you put it in the socket,
But we have done so many hundreds of these cases, and nothing happens.
I have
thank
one.
you very much.
Yes,
ma'am.
Dr.
One-
Sentin.
Sure.
Regarding these hard cataracts and intumescent cataracts, the femtosecond laser cataract, is it advantageous?
Let's
Maybe
discuss
the
that
users
over dinner.
of femtosecond. How exactly?
100%, because the problem is the advantage, the Rexis is done, the segmentation is done. In Catalyst, we have got 8 segment, softening of the thing is done. The pre-cut, it's like a pre-chop. So all the way down it cuts, and the Catalyst is definitely a more powerful machine than LensX and other machines as well. So the amount of phaco energy which is used is very, very less. So my femto cataracts, especially hard cataracts, my femto, the corneas are crystal clear when
Excellent.
compared to the manual phaco.